It's already 2 years ago since I've tested 5 popular airsoft grenades on my channel and told you about their typical pros and cons. From the old Tornadoes, over the ASG Storm type grenades, up to the nearer but rare Tornado 2 and the Begadi Spring grenade. But now I've found a gas grenade that basically puts all the other ones behind. Let me tell you why I think the Begadi Frag grenade probably is the only BB grenade you will ever need. As a Begadi review partner, my goal is to bring you a new informative review on one of their product lines every 3 months. This time I decided to give you some insights into the Begadi Frag grenade and the matching fast holder clip for molly attachment. Both Begadi and I want those reviews to be as neutral and honest as possible. Still, I can tell you I have sold my longtime favorite, the ASG Storm Apocalypse grenade, in favor of the Begadi one, because I'm more than convinced of the grenade itself. Only of the grenade? Well, the holder clip is a different story, but let's come back to this later. Inside the nicely designed packaging, we find the grenade itself with a standard shell that holds up to 140 BBs and an additional high-capacity shell for 180 BBs maximum. Besides, we get spare rubber parts that are meant to hold the BBs in place in secured state. You can even get spare shells in the Begadi webshop, so in case yours gets damaged, it's easy to get a replacement. With its height of 108 mm, a maximum diameter of about 60 mm and a weight of 320 grams empty, it is only slightly larger and heavier than the old school Tornado grenades by Airsoft Innovations. The feel of both grenades, with their aluminium core and their nylon fiber BB shells, still is very rigid and worthy. You never should throw them directly on an opponent. Gently tossing them into a room or behind a cover is the way safer option. In order to prepare the grenade for action, first fill the internal tank with green gas, add some BBs and then, when you're ready, pull the splint and toss it. The grenade will set off and spin around, spreading BBs on the first impact. We will test later how sensitive the grenade really is. The little knob popping out signalizes the trigger mechanism is activated. In theory, it is possible to set the grenade back to safe once the splint has been pulled, but it requires a lot of force and a tool which potentially could leave scratches and dents on the knob, so this is actually not what I would recommend to do. If you want to exchange the shells to increase the BB capacity, for switching the color of the grenade or just to replace a broken piece, you only need to loosen the 6 Phillips screws you can see in the side holes. Separating both half shells from the core can be a little tough, but with an additional lever on the lower end side, it should be no problem to do. Inside you find the massive aluminium core. I don't open it here, but Begadi made a very detailed video on how to maintain the trigger mechanism inside. Just check out the official product page if you need further information in this aspect. Comparing both shell types clearly shows the different windings of the BB spirals. For the later test, I will use both of them, so we can see how differently the grenade will perform. When reassembling the grenade again, don't forget to insert the little piece of rubber on the top end of the BB spiral. The softer one is black and is meant for weaker gases or cold temperatures, while the harder one is yellow and should be used for stronger gases at warm temperatures. In theory, you also could use the black one all the time, but according to Begadi, it will tear down a little faster than the yellow one. Now let's talk about the fast holder molly clip for the Begadi Frag grenade. The idea is you store the grenade in this clip, where it is secured by the splint, but when you pull it out of the holder, it is immediately activated and can be tossed while the splint remains in position. To make this possible, we have to install the splint coming with the grenade into the holder clip. This is where I see the first downside. If you want to use several units of the holder, for example for different kind of gear sets, you would have to buy more extra splints, as they come with the grenade and not with the holder clip. Shipping the holder with one extra splint already installed would be cool, as it would allow this sort of use without extra costs and efforts for the customer. The way it comes forces you to decide. Do you want to use the grenade with the holder or without it? Let's go the holder way and install the splint into the upper section of the clip. This is not particularly difficult. You just have to remove the additional holder switch by loosening the installed pin and then loosen the screw so the grenade splint will fit in. During the reinstallation of the holder switch with the little pin, I obviously was not careful enough and applied too much pressure in the wrong direction. So this happened. I broke off some of the plastic holding the pin and the spring in place. My bad, I obviously was too clumsy for this job. Fortunately, the unit still can be used in this state. As you can see, the grenade has to be guided inside the holder completely straight. Otherwise, the splint will not fit the little hole in the grenade's head. Here, you have two choices. You could clip in the grenade while there's already gas and BBs inside, which makes it necessary to load it unsecured and push down the little knob with some pressure as I've shown before, so the splint has enough space. Or you load the grenade with BBs first, then insert it into the holder and then fill in the gas. While being attached to your gear, probably. Considering a grenade wants to be refilled several times on a typical game day, I think both options are not really ideal. It is just a compromise I personally don't want to take. However, let's see how we can attach the holder clip to my molly belt. I have to admit, the molly loops on this one are very strange, and even pulling regular fabric counterparts through is an absolute nightmare. This is even more the case on rigid components like the grenade holder. Consequently, another accident happened. Yep, another part broke off. I don't want to be unfair here, but I can't remember that I actually damaged a plastic molly gear part before, and definitely not twice in a couple of minutes. But it's okay, I take this on my own stupidity again. Luckily, I had bought a second holder before, which I wanted to use for a second gear set. Now I promise to be extra careful. After being very patient, I managed to fiddle the second holder in. But at least on those untypical molly loops, it has so much play in basically all directions that I would be afraid to lose it on the field. This is why I wanted to give it another try on some thicker loops. So, same procedure again, and basically the same results. Not much has changed in terms of play, unfortunately. Not even if I fill the pouches with magazines and add the grenade itself. The amount of wobble is just too much for my personal demand. I'm sorry, Begadi, but you did not get yourself a fan of the fast holder here. But hey, talked enough about those aspects. Time for the part you probably all are here for. Let's go and throw some BB grenades. I prepared an outdoor camera setup with a time-lapse cam and my standard hand cam, so you get a good impression of how the grenade performs. First, we tested on some kind of solid ground. This is why I placed that plastic side table on the grass. The outdoor temperature is somewhere between 10 and 15 degrees Celsius, so we have good conditions to test different types of airsoft gas. In the first combination, we test the 180 BB's high cap shell with Protect green gas, which you can also get from Begadi. This gas is advertised to work even at 5 degrees Celsius, which should make it a good choice for the frag grenade. Once the grenade is triggered, we see a nice 360-degree spread radius of the BBs, but due to the high capacity and the not too warm temperatures, not all the BBs came out. Let's see if this will be the same on the ASG red gas, which should be suitable for even colder temperatures and deliver a higher velocity on the BBs. And indeed, both the spin of the grenade and the BB power seem to increase significantly on the red gas. Only one single BB remained inside. I assume this doesn't count. I'm curious if we can get out even more of it when using the regular shell, which only fits 140 BBs. Again, the first turn is for the Protect green gas. By the way, the BBs I'm using are a mixture of old ones that were spilled or previously shot, perfect to reuse in grenades and mines and to save some money. Although we don't really see a difference to the high cap shell on green gas, this time all of the BBs came out and not a single one remained inside. Very nice. To complete this part of the test, here is one more throw on the red gas and the regular shell. Already at this point, I'm quite happy with the spread and velocity, which I see quite close to the Tornado 2 grenades actually. I think those pictures speak for themselves. Of course, the grenade again is 100% empty. So far so good. But will the Begadi Frag grenade also be triggered on soft grass? Time to find out. absolutely no problem. During the entire day of testing, the grenade set off every single time. Of course, even this grenade has its limits, which are mainly caused by too cold temperatures. Here you see my attempt to fill it with wet gas on a day at about 0 degrees Celsius. Even though the trigger mechanism still worked, it was still leaky all the time. It's just not a good idea to torture the O-rings inside this way, as the temperatures can drop to below 20 degrees Celsius minus after throwing. Just use it when you don't see any ice or snow on the ground and you should be safe. The next day, I took the grenade to the Airsoft field of Wolfenstein in Belgium, which is ideal to record some in-game test footage. I'll leave you alone with it for a while, so you can make your own impressions.
Granate! Blau? Rot, okay. Sehr nett von dir, danke.
It indeed turned out to be very useful to have the grenade with me that day. I threw it 3 times in total during the games. After the day was over, this was how the shell looked like. Besides some minor scratches and dents, one larger part broke off on the top side. I guess this can't be avoided for an object that is meant to be thrown on hard ground several times. However, it is still completely functional. If you are looking for your first Airsoft grenade or would like to replace a broken one, in my opinion, the Begadi Frag grenade is the best option on the market these days. Talking about gas-powered BB grenades, of course. The development of Airsoft grenades has come a long way during the last decade, but this one is the all-in-one evolutionary step, if you ask me. It gives you the feel of the classic Tornado 1, the power of the Tornado 2 and the price of the Storm Apocalypse grenades, while being top-notch reliable and easy to set up. And that's not even all. Spare parts are easy to get, and you even have the choice between the high power and the high capacity shell. The fast toter, on the other hand, well, you saw the video and know what I think about it. From the conceptual idea over the lack of an extra splint up to the wobbling molly installation, this thing is just not my type of gear. In case you want to buy it and consider the points I listed here, it maybe will work out for you. But I do recommend to look out for a different option to store your grenade. And that's basically all I can tell you about the Begadi Frag grenade. I hope you liked my review and maybe would like to tell me what you think about it in the comments. I try to read every single one of them and give you some feedback as soon as possible. So long, see you on my next video, and as always, have a good one.